Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Bree. I just threw up, so I did change my clothes. If you're wondering why I'm finally wearing a different dress than I'm used to. My stomach is being rebellious. Today I'm talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is my retrospective and thoughts on the franchise. So, Ninja Turtles started out as a comic book that nobody remembers, so we don't talk about it. And then in the late 80s, it got adapted to a Saturday morning cartoon, which is when it blew up in popularity, and a massively successful action figure toy line, which I do own a ton of toys from. And then there was some video games on the NES, Super NES, Sega Genesis, and in the arcades. And then some live action movies, and then the franchise has gone through some ups and downs ever since then. So, true story, when I first discovered what the Ninja Turtles was, I was in an arcade, and I was playing the 4-player Ninja Turtles arcade game, and I knew nothing about Ninja Turtles. Hadn't seen the cartoon yet, didn't know there was a comic book, hadn't seen any toys in toy stores because I was still, young and mostly looking for Transformers. And I loved the game. I thought it was really cool. And when I went to the Kmart and I saw they had action figures of this video game, I thought that was so cool. I made my parents buy me some action figures of this video game. And then I ended up getting, renting, I should say, the first Ninja Turtles game on the NES, which I didn't enjoy at the time. And then I found out they had an NES version of that arcade game, which was Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, which I remember renting, and I loved the shit out of that game. And then I remember going to a friend's house who had all the NES games, and he had Ninja Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project, so I got to play that game at his house. And it was okay. I didn't enjoy it as much as the second one, but it was still fun. It was around 89, 90 in that ballpark, around the time the movie came out, that I learned there was a movie. And so I watched the movie, and that was when I discovered the cartoon and started watching the cartoon. So I played the video game first, got a handful of action figures, then I watched the live action movie, and then I watched the cartoon, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? This is, like, weird. So, after getting into the cartoon and discovering it was more sci-fi than whatever the fuck the movie was, with robots and giant space tanks and mutants from other dimensions and talking brains and all that weird shit, I got really into it. So I started watching the Saturday morning cartoon. By this point, there were already episodes in various volumes by Family Home Entertainment on VHS. So I was renting the VHS tapes of the cartoon from the video stores. And really getting into Ninja Turtles. In 93, my parents bought me not only a bunch of Ninja Turtles for that Christmas, because this was the first Christmas my parents both had jobs. So this was the first Christmas that we all got toys. Instead of like one toy for us all to share, and then one individual little toy for each of us individually. This Christmas was like mind-blowing. I got the Technodrome, which I was like, oh my god, I was in kid heaven when I got the Technodrome. I was like, holy shit, hell yeah. And I still have a Technodrome. I've already shown it. I've shown it off in a video on my toy channel, Breeze Toys, so check that out. It was in the 90s. It was in the 90s that the video games started to take a back seat The comic books were off in their own little world doing their thing, which I wasn't paying any attention to. And the cartoon got really weird. And I lost interest in the cartoon, and I slowly started to lose interest in the action figures. In 2003, there was a revival of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was a new animated series, more based on the comics than the original cartoon was. And it had some tie-in video games. The first one I had on the GameCube, and I fucking loved it. One of the best games on the GameCube. I just fucking loved the shit out of that game. And they went through a rocky phase around this time. One of the two original creators split up, and one of the creators that was left pretty much sold it. He ended up selling it to Nickelodeon, I believe. And they've done some weird stuff with it. They've had a couple of, like, kind of revivals that didn't go anywhere. And then a few years ago, they were making strides with Rise of the TMNT, but then, like, COVID hit, and that fucked everything up. And then Rise of the TMNT just ended suddenly, the toy line at least. I don't know if the cartoon kept going or not because I didn't watch the cartoon. And they took a year off, didn't do anything with Ninja Turtles. And they just brought it back last year with Mutant Mayhem. Which I'll say, as a toy line, it's not bad. I didn't enjoy it as much as Rise of the TMNT. I felt like that you had more, like, original figures in that toy line than what we're getting with Mutant Mayhem, because it seems like Mutant Mayhem is just like old figures just redesigned in new styles, which I think is cool too for some people like that. I just liked Rise because we actually got something different for a change. And so, like, Baron Draxum is like one of my favorite Ninja Turtle figures of all time. I just love that figure line. It was just so cool. I don't have any Mutant Mayhem toys. I'm not interested in the movie or the cartoon because I don't watch cartoons. But I think the toys look cool. I might pick up a few along the way, maybe. I just haven't decided which ones I want to get. Because I don't want to get any of the main turtles because I've already got plenty of the 4 turtles. I've got like 6 or 7 figures each of the 4 turtles from different toy lines. And I don't like the designs of some of the characters like Bebop and Rocksteady in that toy line, so I won't be buying those figures. But some of the figures do have cool designs, so I'll probably pick up a few. But I do want to talk about I want to go back and talk about the video games. Because to me, I was introduced to Ninja Turtles through the video game, so I, as a kid, interpreted it in my mind as a video game franchise that had all this other stuff tied into it. I didn't know that the comics and cartoons actually came, and the toys came before the video game. So to me, it was just like a video game property in my mind. I would later learn about the other stuff. So I've never read a Ninja Turtle comic in my life. Cover to cover, I should say. I browsed a few, you know. Didn't seem like it was all that interesting because I was more into the comic book, the cartoon universe that was introduced in the original animated series and the video games were based on, or at least most of the video games. Some of the video games were based on the comics or adapted from other cartoons that were adapted from the comics, that kind of thing. I did not see the first Ninja Turtle movie in the theaters, but I did see Secret of the Ooze in the theater. And I remember being disappointed by that movie. It was fun, but I remember leaving the theater thinking it wasn't as good as the original. I did not see Turtles in Time in the theaters, Ninja Turtles 3. I made the mistake of renting it on VHS, and that was what killed Ninja Turtles for me. I just lost interest, just like cold turkey. I was like, you know what? I'm over it. That was the jump the shark moment for me. I didn't get back into collecting Ninja Turtle action figures until Rise of the TMNT, and I started with Rise action figures. I got the 4 Turtles, I got the Foot Soldier, I got Baron Draxum, I got Meat Sweats, April O'Neil, and I ended up getting the Shredder and Splinter, Master Splinter, from that toy line. I have one vehicle from that toy line, the Turtle Van. I do not have any vehicles or playsets from any toy lines except for the original. I have the original Turtle Lair. I have the original Technodrome. And I've got a ton of original vehicles. I couldn't tell you which ones I have. I have so many of them. I have a lot of them. Probably like 7 or 8 vehicles from the original toy line. I do not have the original Turtle Van, and I do not have the original Blimp, but I do have some of the other vehicles. Like, I have one of the motorcycles, I have one of the cars, I have one of the tanks, I have the helicopter. I know I have one, I have two of the cars, actually. I have the raft, the battle raft, whatever it's called. God, I can't remember what else I have. I got a few. Mostly bits and pieces, because I bought them in one big lot off eBay, and I got a whole bunch of crap all at once. So nothing, like, complete, but I'm not a completist anyway, so I'm good. I think Ninja Turtles is a fun toy line to collect. I think the video games are hit or miss. I really only like 3 video games out of, well, 4 out of all of them. I liked Turtles 2 and 3 on the NES. I liked the first one on the GameCube, the one from 2003. And I liked Tournament Fighters on the Sega Genesis. I did not like the other Tournament Fighters. I did not like Turtles in Time. I did not like Hyperstone Heist. And I did not like that first Ninja Turtle game on the NES. I just didn't. I didn't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. So overall, I have kind of mixed feelings about Ninja Turtles. I like one of the movies. I like I said, 3 or 4 of the video games. I like most of the toys. I think the toys are the strength of the franchise. No interest in the comics. Very little interest in the cartoons. No interest in the animated or modern movies. I haven't seen any of them, not even the Michael Bay ones. I don't really describe myself as, like, a fan of Ninja Turtles. I just like some Ninja Turtle stuff. Now, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Ninja Turtles because, like, everyone was. But this is one franchise where the nostalgia alone isn't enough. The toys aren't as great as I remember them being. As far as action figures go, some of them aren't very good at all. And the cartoon is rubbish. I can't get into it these days. I tried recently and I was like, nope, fuck no, not for me. Even with nostalgia, it was just like, fuck no, not for me. So that's my assessment of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You may enjoy it more than I do. And if so, good for you. I'm just kind of like, it's not my favorite toy line, but it's still a fun toy line to collect. I still enjoy it. Stay cool.